Off real quick.
Yeah. Hey everybody, time for the ugly chop top truth. It's not all pretty and clean.
It's not done in 30 minutes.
It's not done 30 minutes. Actually, you're going to have to roll that way. I'll get my chair. Kind of hang out. So, hey everyone. We've had the roof off 3 times? 3 times. So, we took it, we flipped it over, we cleaned up all this black goop on the inside, and we trimmed and we cut here so we could stick it on the inside. Simply because this roof is narrower than this roof, so if we have a little bit of pucker right here, we got to deal with. And for right now, I just want to make sure we get this line in the correct plane. And through all these trials and tribulations, there was quite a few things pointed out by people that are commenting and stuff. And one of them is I have no inner bracing. And I did have a big X member in it for the longest time after we cut the top, but it was more annoying than helpful. Before I cut it out, I made sure I had it all squared up so I knew where all the lines were. And as you can see, if you look really close here, she's opened up quite a bit right here when she's hanging on this lift with the pressure in the center. When she's on the wheels, this closes up quite a bit. And part of that is because this is just on here with one single plate of sheet metal for right now. But what we'll do when everything is kind of lined up and I have the lines that I want, and I mean literally this roof, we've cut it twice. This was the second cut. We took a whole another inch off the back of the pillar right here just to get this roof line to kind of have a better flow. So it's a total, now it's a total of 5 inches out of the pillar in the back, which is a little bit more than 4 in the straight up one. But we're trying to find this line to meet somewhere at the center line of the crest of this line right here. And I want to keep this line and then do this turn line up to this one like we talked about earlier, the Buick Caballero. And we couldn't get this one to come down low enough because of the interaction between the 2 roofs and the 2 different width roofs. So I cut a relief in here where this and this roof crossed over each other so that it could slip in for now so we could find this line and allow us then to pivot off of this up and down a little bit until we get the correct flow in that line, so to say. And it's a little bit lower than I imagined, but I also kind of like it. The other thing that will happen too, we put a 1/2 inch spacer right here. If you back up a little bit, we put a 1/2 inch spacer right here because the bottom of this and the bottom of that will be lining up. By the time the pillars come in, I'm going to have to lift that roof up a little bit to get those 2 to align. And like I said, I'm going to cut loose that whole back end and lean this forward, and then lean this forward a little bit until these 2 line up. So you'll have more of a nomad style tailgate, or it'll be a double flip out, So, but we got to a point where I'm pretty damn happy with the way it looks. Let me come around and just take a side step with you guys. When you stand back and look at it, I'm trying not to yell around here. Randy James asked, it's hard for me to tell, is that a Volvo? And yes it is. It's a 1964 Volvo wagon that has front roof, quarter panel, and door from a 67 or 8 sedan. And it's chopped, if you look like right about here, net 3 inches, which is like 4 3/4 right there, and we're about at 5 inches here. And so it'll be a 2-door hardtop, and then this area right here will be all filled in with metal, so it'll be a delivery, a 2-door hardtop delivery by the time we're done monkeying around. And right now, we have just screwed the roof in place in the middle. Actually, let me go and show that to you a little bit closer. Hang tight, let me get the mic on there. So, right now, we just measured, we have the right height here, we have the right height here, we have just put 1 screw in there and put a little support up to the center. There's a support that goes across here that'll hold the roof somewhat in the right place. And you can see the space difference here because this roof isn't split, but this is split 1 3/4, and we'll deal with that later on. But now you can see the flow of this line running into this line right there. And I'll end up here, I'll show you on my little dream picture, so to say. And if you look on this roof line right here, you have the 2-door hardtop drip rail, and then you have another drip rail right here that comes up with a turn. If you look at it close right there, has a really sexy little turn right there and continues back. And that's kind of the look I'm going for, except that this part will be sheet metal, so we can have the Customikes logo on it. But that gives you an idea of where the roof is at. And I think that's enough beating on this for today, so to say. But Scotto has always also been really busy on his Carson top and fine-tuning and figuring out what he wants and how he's going to do it. So, and you know, this top, which actually is hanging right here, him and his friends built over the years and engineered back and forth and trying to figure out what they're going to do with and how they're going to do with it. And we've been working on the landing area for him. Well, he has been working on the landing area with me telling him what to do and him carefully trying to figure it out. And so he made pieces that go right here to kind of fill it. We can take that off, huh? Just to show them.
Yeah, we can take that off.
Because in the beginning, you know, this top was not really meant to be on, or it wasn't thought through, so to say, yet. And when you take the top off and you have this old, like, window lace area where the seal goes, it doesn't look really nice. So as we were talking and asked him what he really wanted, you know, does he want it to look like this? You can see right here that you got the channel where the window and the hardtop and all that stuff goes.
Yeah, where the old window went and where the old roof connected to. So there's a lot of void right there. So at that time we filled it in and then put in some seatbelt buckles. But this is what I've done yesterday and today was create this little filler piece to go in here. So that'll continue this whole line right here. And we'll get that welded in, and then we're making a transition. This will all be welded together, so you have a nice smooth landing all the way up and around. So that when the top is off, it'll have a nice place to nest onto and seal, you know, with the appropriate sealing compound or
with an appropriate seal and also, you know, we're engineering a lot of other things too. Yes, we're engineering a place for the seal to land. But we're also engineering a place for where the seal is going to attach, and then that same attachment is engineered to function underneath here. We're going to make the end piece that also holds in the material that goes on top of it, and the headliner material will be held in with the same piece that then mates to down here, which also holds then the seal. So
basically, there's going to be a new landing underneath here.
Okay.
A new bottom piece for this with a clamping mechanism.
Yep.
That will hold both the top and have a place for the interior upholstery to clamp onto, so it can be all clamped in one shot.
Yeah. And that way the material will be securely held in place,
nice
and it can't slip out, so to say.
Yeah. And all this is going away. All this fiberglass is going away.
So anyway, so I'm really proud of him. He's done a lot of cool work, and there's been a lot of trials. Why don't you tell him a little bit about this corner piece and what you went through to that? And you know, I'm the guy with the whip and you better do it yourself type of thing. But go ahead.
So we initially, you know, tried to create a piece that fit in here, and we started off with just a piece of straight metal. And then I put in a bin, or I use a brake to create a semicircle, and then we use the shrinker and stretcher to try to coax it into position so that it would go through this transition here and try to mate up to where the stainless would go. Well, it was just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and it just was not working. So we did it a couple of times. This one here was number 2, the second try, and it just really got beat up and really hard, from all the shrinking and the stretching and the bending, and it just was getting to be too hard to be able to use. So we decided to rethink it and then just go with a single piece, and then with this trim piece in here, we just kind of rolled it over. So we created a piece a template that lined up exactly where the trim was, and then rolled it over.
Yeah. Do you want to show them how you did that too? Do you have that piece over there?
Yeah. Here's a piece that it was just off a little bit. So that's what we ended up with. I cut it out that way, and then we used a.
Let's go over there and show them.
Okay.
It's a mess. We've been working all day, so we have to put up with that.
So we basically just used the T-dolly and just ran it over, so it would have been straight like that, and then we just would have hammered over the edge a little bit at a time until you got a nice radius to fit that corner.
Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't have this cut correctly, so it didn't fit right. So it didn't nest up. It had a void where the trim was, and that was because my template wasn't correct. So we made another template, cut a new piece out, and cut perfectly on the line, and then rolled it over and massaged a little twist here and there, and that one over there fit just fine. And
so the whole point here is that you don't really need a lot of fancy tools. I mean, this is great right here, and I know this is the enemy harbor freight, so to say, but for $140 with the stand when they were on a super sale, it's a really handy little tool for little things like this. And another upgrade Scott did, I always look at these, which one is it now? And then Scott put this little tape on here to tell which direction it was, so I didn't have to think about it and look at it, which is, these ones are going together, and these ones are going apart. And so when you put the metal in there, it moves it apart, and when you put the metal in the other one, it pushes it together on the edges, So, yeah, you can see it, and you can see this one all chewed up from going back and forth, more there, a little less,
And that was a straight piece of metal before.
Yeah.
And so you just nibble at it, and it'll tighten it up.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like crap now because we've hammered it flat like 3 or 4 times, and, like start over, and, But it's part of Scott learning and getting kind of muscle memory and a feel for what the various tools do and how the material reacts to what he does. But a lot of these things are things that most people don't think of. The top's going to be on all the time. You never see that. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. And I asked that question of Scott. I was like, what do you want this to look like? Do you want to be able to take it off and be proud of it? Or you don't care, the top's going to be on more of the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what fits you or suits you, hallelujah, go have fun with the car. It's absolutely appropriate. But if you want something more and you have access to ability to do this, or to learn how to do it like Scott has, then, he decided to go forward with it, and we're going to make it so that it has a nice, smooth place.
Landing area. Nice
landing area.
Transition.
And we're kind of talking about re-engineering his latches, which we'll talk about later, and incorporating the interior pieces and the seat around it, because you got to really think about all the pieces. It's not just about welding it together and sticking it on if you want to use it a long time and enjoy it, So anyway, that's kind of where we're at, and thank you for hanging out with us here, Scott and Mike at Customikes, and we've had a fantastic Customikes Mancave Shenanigans Sunday. And you get a look at the Volvo in the back there with a roof from the back too. Interesting view. But we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us here at Customikes. And this will be the third and the last one from today. And now I get to think about this for the rest of the week. But anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. Love you all. Thank you for hanging at Customikes.
Thank you.
See you.
See you later.